Hello Aquarius, and welcome to Mind, Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the month of December 2019. I hope you're well, Aquarius. This is a general reading for Sun, Moon and Rising signs. So it's going to be a general reading. If it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, then it's just not your reading. Do not try to fit it in. Do use your own intuition to see how the messages apply to you. Alright, my darlings, I hope you are well. As I said, we've been through the Scorpio season, and the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. Beautiful. So, Two of Cups is your current energy. Let's see if this is better. Maybe. Okay. So yeah. Let's just say we all had some intense times, but we just moved in Sagittarius season. And you, Aquarius, specifically enjoy Sagittarius season. You really get along with this energy. So yeah, I really hope you're going to have an amazing December. Now let's see what's the energy dynamics that's showing up for you. Okay, Four of Swords is your challenge. No surprise there, Aquarius. Okay, what else do we have here? Two of Swords is your focus. Four of Pentacles as your advice. One more card, please. Okay, the Magician as your future energy. Kind of where is this taking us? And the theme of your reading is the Knight of Swords. It's like the underlying energy, what you're working with this month as a whole. It can be longer than just this month, but you know, the time applies as it applies for you, and you'll know for sure. I'm gonna clarify these cards, but I think given that Knight of Swords is your theme, it has to do a lot with communication and that pursuit of truth that is very specific to air signs in general. But Knight of Swords is Gemini energy, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and we have here the Magician, which is also ruled by Mercury. So there's a lot of Mercurian energy here. And it makes sense. I mean, like, we are still in the post-shadow period after this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. And, right, the Judgment. Okay, let's just pull the cards out. Page of Pentacles with the Four of Swords. Nine of Cups with Two of Swords as your, this was focus, sorry. The Three of Pentacles with Four of Pentacles as your advice. Ha! And the Ten of Pentacles with the Magician as your future energy. And we have the Four of Cups with the Knight of Swords as your theme and underlying energy. All right, Aquarius. So you must have been like, you might have been through a more like retreat period, or you're going through such a retreat period where you don't really feel like engaging into the world so much, you know, where the world in a way loses its taste and appeal. And we tend to not like these periods so much because we feel like a little bit apathic and lethargy, and we don't have a lot of energy. And yeah, it feels similar with depression, if not having the actual symptoms of depressive episodes. But this is also a period where our bodies naturally pull us in and say, okay, now it's time to look within and reflect a little bit. This is like going into that meditative state and, I don't know, sitting under the tree cross-legged, in order to see what's going on and understand what's in these cups and understand that there's a cup here being offered to you that you may not be seeing. It is important though to not lose ourselves in these episodes of going within. It is good to have retreat periods. It is good to feel through and allow this emotional stability to settle in when we don't really feel that much, and we are able to rationalize much more, to use our brain. And it's sort of like looking at our emotions almost like a doctor would look at what's inside a human body, you know. Okay, so there's the kidney and there's the um, liver, and there's something going on in there. So if I cut a little bit here and if I do a little bit of that, it might release the pressure, that type of attitude. So you don't necessarily feel very emotionally unstable through this process, but it can also become on your comfort zone. So yeah, careful there, Aquarius. But yeah, well, let's see actually how this ties up here with the Knight of Swords. I think you in order, like, as you're coming out of this stage, you need to come out and share that with the world. Communicate what is it that you've felt, understood, and assimilated and integrated within this retreat period. Sometimes it's important, it's actually very important to communicate about our inner dynamics and what's going on, not in a sense of making it all about myself and having to go out there after I had a little moment of an insight or understanding to preach it out there to the rest of the world that you solved the issue of all emotional turmoil there. It's not about this, but it's important to share our experience from a place of like authenticity and vulnerability, because other people may connect to it, may relate to it, and then they understand that they're not alone. They can understand that these experiences are normal, and sometimes they don't make certain connections that maybe you have made, and some it resonates, but to some it doesn't, and that's okay too. Another thing that's very important is also to communicate the needs that we have when we go in these periods. A lot of people are like, okay, why are you going within? Oh my God, you're so boring. We need to go out and party. Or come on, you're missing out on life. Look at the beauty of the universe out there. I'm like, yeah, okay, it is. But right now I can't feel it. And it doesn't make any sense. I don't believe in fake it until you make it. You know, I believe in honoring myself, honoring my needs, understanding what I need, and attending to myself and my needs. And sometimes I need to go within, and sometimes I need to go without, and those are perfectly fine. And I think it's important for you to communicate your needs, and I think it's important for you to communicate also what you understood from this. Okay. Was it like this? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. All right, Aquarius. So it seems that you're may have reflected during this or maybe you're reflecting this month on connection. You're reflecting on a new way of showing up, because you have the Judgment here. The Judgment is like a complete change in your life, something that was reborn in a sense. You know, maybe the way you're showing up in connections now is completely changing, and you get to experiment with this. You get to live and go out there and see, okay, so if I want to have a romantic partner, for example, how am I going to show up? Maybe my past relationship, I used to show up, say, as a little bit codependent, or maybe a little bit controlling, or maybe a little bit avoidant for a reason or another, you know, fear, whatever. not wanting to engage, not wanting to put in the energy, not liking to be seen or wanting to be seen in just a certain or particular light. But with the judgment here, I feel like you've been going through, or you are going through, quite a revolution in that sense, and I think you're keen with that, Aquarius. I mean, Uranus is one of your rulers, and hell yeah, your Uranus is all about revolution. Yes, judgment is going to bringing that huge change, and you're learning how to connect from a place of equality, from a place of balance, balanced exchange, from a place of really healthy, secure attachment, not from a place of avoidance or fear or over controlling or whatever. And don't be hard on yourself. I'm like, we all go through our periods, and it has a lot to do with where we're coming from and how our lives had been and what were the role models for behavior in our lives. And also, how on earth have we processed all the experiences that we had throughout our lives. So this is not about judging, even though this is called judgment. It doesn't mean that nobody's judging you, no higher power is judging you over what you've done, the good and the bad, and this is not what karma is about. It's judgment in the sense that you are able to have a very honest, again, that part of maybe that's why you're going through this like emotional retreat where you can't feel too much, because you need to be rather cool-headed in a sense to have this pure assessment, but at a soul level, and like really zooming out and look at your life as a whole and be like, okay, so relationships for me used to be like this, and now they're like this, and I feel like, okay, maybe before I was hoping that people would just like, if I do something nice for them, they would like put up with me or something like this. Ways of buying my love, or ways of communicating or trying to manipulate others in order to have my needs being met. I'm not saying this is necessarily the case for you. I'm just saying that these type of changes may come through, of however you would show up in the past in relationships, especially the unhealthy side, is now sort of being revisited and completely revolutionized, not just revisited, because this is like a huge big change. See how the angels like awakening the dead here and brings liberation. These people are looking up to the angel with they're looking for salvation. This is what they're getting here. So maybe you have closed the karmic chapter in your life about your relationships, and even if you're not in a relationship, you maybe start relating to the people or potential partners in a different way. The people in your life as well, like friends and family and co-workers and so on. If you're already in a romantic relationship, maybe the way you show up in that relationship starts changing as well. So, and you can from that space of like understanding where you at and what is it that you learned through this lesson. It's the 20s, towards the end of the soul's journey in this cycle. You're able to put this into practice, and from that place you will be able to decide whether you stay or whether you go. You may actually deepen the relationship that you have already in such an amazing way, and to go on a completely new level, or it may go in the other direction, and you know that, okay, this is not what I need and I gotta go. There's no indication of any of that necessarily, but it is important to understand yourself at this point, and also especially where you're coming from when you're showing up. Okay, challenging seems to be to keep your mind a little bit relaxed in this, to give your mind a break, to not analyze and overanalyze. Like you're having your emotional understanding here, and your mind is racing up and down, and it wants to like communicate everything maybe a little bit too much. Or the Four of Swords indicates like taking a break, and really just it can mean meditation, it can mean really like relaxing a lot, sleeping, resting, that type of thing. So coming down the mind and going into the body right now, and being like very present, and noticing like how um how your insight can be really put into the world in a practical way, seem to not come so easy for you right now. But these challenges come so that we learn. That's what the challenge is. We learn what we need to learn from this experience, right? So maybe as you're coming back and forth, as you're like communicating at a very like really going for the truth and nothing but the truth. You may see that that's not the way either, because it doesn't make sense if I just communicate and speak my truth and be authentic if nobody can receive that. If I do it so ruthlessly and so harshly that people just close up, and they're not hearing anymore. This is why it's so important to give yourself time to reflect. Not like, okay, there I am, I've been in my depression or in my period of like reflection for 2 days, and I came up with all these answers, or I reached all these pits, and here I am communicated everything. Oh, it's your fault. Oh, it's because of this. Oh my God, it's from my childhood. Oh, I mean, stay with it a little bit more. Sit with it. Sit through all the emotional cycle. And don't attach yourself too much to any idea that pops up right now. Allow yourself to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you might go through certain different stages of from anger to complete stillness, from pain to bliss, from all that, and that's the whole point. Everything is impermanent, everything comes and goes. The Page of Pentacles is a reminder to come into the body. The Four of Swords is a reminder to calm back the mind, calm down the mind, and take a break. And then we have as you focus, the Two of Swords and the Nine of Cups. And Two of Swords, especially if it comes at focus, it's like, look at how are you closing your heart? When are you becoming a little bit too overprotective? When are you becoming maybe you're closing yourself down, and you make use of diplomacy in order to not escalate the situation, but then you're not able to really communicate your wishes and your needs with the Nine of Cups here. This is being your focus, is kind of where you need to look at. You're going to find information here if you just like take this theme for yourself, and you're like, okay, where am I closing myself down? Where am I blocking my emotions? What is it that I'm keeping at bay and I'm not allowing myself to experience or get in? And see, she's blindfolded here. It's a very static energy. She needs to take a decision. Maybe it's okay to give yourself the time. Again, these three cards talk about like really slow down here, which may feel a little bit hard to do with the Knight of Swords here, wanting to be so, it's a very, very fast moving energy, very dynamic. But when we slow down, we really start seeing, okay, what am I blocking off? What need that I'd like to fulfill or desire, that I really, really want to, pursue. It doesn't have a space for communication. I don't allow it in, because maybe I feel, okay, there's no chance I can fulfill that need, or I can't feel all that now. I don't have the space for it, or the time, or whatever. Well, it seems that this is the time. And there's a lot that it doesn't necessarily need to all be the dark night of the soul. It can just, like, sometimes we're closing ourselves off to everything, not just the bad or the scary. Because when we shut down our feelings, we shut down our feelings, and that's it. And you Aquarius are an expert in this, I may say. But see, the Nine of Cups here as a focus is also a reminder too that you've worked a lot. This is like you have 9 cups here. This is wish fulfillment. This is like awareness that that, as I said, that you have a lot to be grateful for, and you have a lot that you've been through, that we can draw understanding and experience and emotional fulfillment. I think this message comes twice, like to hold on your communication a little bit, allow yourself to go through this period and communicate what you need to communicate when you're out a little bit, when you're able to calm your mind a little bit, when you are neither over diplomatic but neither over ruthless and harsh. When you find that you have the emotional stability but also the emotional sensibility to reach the people in your life that you need to communicate to, or even the masses if that's the case. Advice. Okay, so this in December, Jupiter is moving in Capricorn, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of growth, of the higher the higher mind, where the big picture, the philosophy, and you love that. You love the big picture. You love understanding the things from zooming out. That's your thing. But moving to Capricorn, it lightens up a little bit the financial situation, the structure that we have in a more stable reality, in the reality that we operate here, in the physical reality, right? What is it that I have? What is it that I can afford spending? But it's not just about the money, it's about the energy. That can mean time, that can mean money, that can mean actual physical goods, that can mean action, like in the type of routine that we may have, and so on. And with the Four of Pentacles as your advice, I think, again, these are 2 fours here. It's really like, go and hold some space for yourself. Create a little bit of a boundary and understand your situation. Also, maybe it's time to reevaluate, like, what are your partners, your group of friends, your support network. How does that work? Are they still relevant, the ones that are present for you? Do you have any? Is it time to build some? The Three of Pentacles talks about, like, really, like, people coming from different walks of life, with a different life experience, building something together. It's like a task. It's like a something that it's a project maybe you're doing together, or some type of cooperation. Maybe your advice here is to hold some space for yourself, be a little bit cautious about how you're spending your time and energy and money, and also in what people are you investing time, energy, and money. Who are you spending your time with? What are you building together? Are you building a space that you want to be part of and share? Or do you feel like that's a space that you're in there, or you create that space, co-create that space only because That's your habitual pattern. But it's all positive, really. I mean, it's just be a little bit cautious and do invest in the partnerships that make sense. And with the Magician and the Ten of Pentacles here as your future energy, where this is taking you. You know, you're going for quite a journey here. Here you go, going within, and then learning all about how you want to relate to other people, having a huge rebirth there, going through this like whole mind and body balance, and understand that your mind is not a full authority. The mind is a servant just as much as your emotions and your body is. You're not your mind, so you don't give it full reign. And then you're learning as well about like what you're, where you're blocking yourself off, where you're holding yourself back, and what is it that you need to wait to for you to be revealed, having to do with your needs and your wishes and your recognition here for all those needs and wishes, and fulfilling to feel more fulfilled in relationships and in partnerships of all kinds. And then you're being advised to, yeah, as I said, like move within, hold some clear boundaries for about your time and energy, and use it wisely with the people that matter. And then you have the Magician and the Ten of Pentacles. My God, that's like, hell yeah. You're able to manifest abundance. You are able to understand how things work. The magician is the magician because he has everything on the table. You know, he has all the aces, which means the openings or the opportunities that show up from the wands, from the cups, from the pentacles, from swords, right? And he understands that as above, so below. He understands how to move the energy. He understands where to put his time, where to take more and give less, and so on and so on. He understands how things work. So he has the infinity over his head here, and that means like knowledge that comes from the universal consciousness. And you understand apparently towards the throughout this process, and you understand how abundance works, how being into this world, into this present moment, how to make use of that, and how to draw energy from that, and how to put energy into that, to have that beautiful place of harmony with life, the universe, and everything. You see here, there's like a very harmonious family full of like abundance, the grapes, the dogs, the protection, guidance. There's the city, which shows support and everything. Everybody's happy, joy here. And this also talks about like family dynamics, or happy family dynamics, and maybe you will be guided at the time to, or you will understand at the time much more about your family karma and the legacy that you inherited from your from your parents, grandparents, and your lineage, let's put it this way. And also, what is it that you want to keep from that, and what your legacy is going to look like, in a sense? What is it that you want to put into this world? You understand what you've inherited, and you understand what you want to create. And that's perfect, isn't it? All right, Aquarius. I hope that makes sense to you. I'm going to pull out a Rumi Oracle. Let's get some guidance here for my dear Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs for December 2019. Okay, this one seems to be it. And it's a Sacred Phoenix Heart. I've seen this one a lot recently. Well, I just started the readings, but I saw it in the pick a card reading I did. And I think I've seen it in Capricorn. So this is the oracle that I'm reading from, and this is number 21. It's always a long read, but I think I will try to summarize and limit it a little bit. Anyhow, the poem from Rumi says, footprints lead to the shore of the sea. Beyond that point, no trace remains. Makes me think of this card here with like, so footprints lead to the shore of the sea. Beyond that point, no trace remains. She's guarding here that threshold between the physical and the sea, which symbolizes the unconscious, the subconscious, the emotions, and so on. What is like more ethereal in a sense. Okay, let's see. So your soul craves variety because it leads to whole and how? Sorry. You know, when you're whole, wholelessness, whole and never mind, you got it, I hope. Anyway, it leads to divine revelation. The purpose of the soul incarnating in this world in the first place is to realize its divinity through the sacred crucible of life. The older the soul, the closer it is to the realization of divine oneness, and the more beautiful its determination to shed that which would constrain complete and conscious immersion into the divine presence. This is why you're having this huge rebirth and huge reassessment about how you're showing up in relationship. So what must you do to receive this divine grace, this new life? You must be willing to face death. It may be that death has come to you in the form of loss of a beloved one, a physical loss that takes you into the darkest despair or depths of your grieving heart. It may be death that comes to you in the ending of financial or professional situation you once relied upon. It could also be in the sense that you don't really know who you are anymore, all identities having shown themselves to be inadequate, inaccurate, mere ego masks, too small for the great being that you are starting to or suspect you may be. This is why you're needing this period. And maybe the loss may feel just like that. Losing your, say, thirst for life, joy for life. Well, hold on. Your death may be a choice to let go, to take a step in a new direction, to move higher, or to step away from a religious or philosophical tradition or a group or a teacher. Your death may not feel as though it has come by choice at all. It may be a sickness that leaves you feeling helpless, a relationship or other life circumstancing changing when you wish with all your heart that it would not. Your transition through this death may be triggered by an inner feeling that you cannot quite pin down. Nonetheless, it powerfully propels you away from what has been and towards untapped possibilities, perhaps even towards great confusion as you encounter life in a new way, feeling even somewhat unprepared and uncertain as to what may lie ahead of you now. You are... Just a second. Okay. You have enough spiritual intelligence to shift perspective and to choose, if you wish, to rest your inner gaze upon what lies beyond death. Gaze instead upon the new life that is calling to you. When you know deep within that no matter what experiences you have had in your life, that you are untainted, you'll be more easily able to trust in the love that the divine has for you. You won't question your worthiness, and therefore you will trust in life more easily and more fully, no matter how much it asks you at times. Sometimes that means we will have to give up lesser loves for the greater love, the divine one that calls us to remember our true nature. Trust me, I'm actually editing here. That's a lot. So there is an ending imminent, a new life coming to you. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, like, obviously there's an ending here and there's new life coming. Um, okay. With greater opportunity for your radiant soul to shine its beauty in the world. Grasp it eagerly, beloved. Now is not the time for fear or hesitation. Focus on what is becoming whilst honoring what is no longer to be. It makes a lot of sense with the judgment here. It makes a lot of sense with this like going within, being cold within, really having to slow down and having to really take a closer look at things. You're letting go of something. It doesn't show up so much in terms of like tarot cards, what exactly you're letting go of, but you know by now for sure. You simply may just let go of a way of being that you're not, doesn't really reflect who you really are anymore. So I hope that makes sense to you, Aquarius. If it does, please like, share and subscribe if you find any type of benefit. And if you benefit from this reading, do share it and allow for others to benefit as well. And yeah, have an amazing December. And oh my god, it's gonna be the new year. Happy New Year. And yeah, I'm going to see you here soon. Bye bye.